So when we met, um, I met you through a boyfriend, Brian. I went to Lincoln High as a varsity baseball player. Um, and I was the one that he was protecting from the creep at work that was sexually harassing me. That's how I met you. Brian was an ass. He was controlling and he was an ass. And I met you, and you found out about my past. The fact that I was, barely 16. Barely. I wasn't even 16 when the original rape happened, which is how I lost my virginity. And you found that out, and you turned that against me. You talked in such a way that it was as if the phrase you used was, since I'm damaged goods, you're gonna make sure that I could be useful, and still, be able to get a guy, because, damaged goods, who wants those, right? It also became apparent very fast that you were apparently suicidal. At least that's what you led me to believe. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. You were a 22-year-old pedophile. I was a kid. And I was vulnerable. I'm also very empathetic and caring. And you led me to believe that there was nobody that you could go to with this, and that you needed somebody to take care of you. So I carried that weight. And, after the first time it happened, I tried talking to you about it. And you said that you weren't sure. But if it did, it could never happen again, because you want to be a police officer, and that would ruin things. Didn't really bring it up after that, because I felt like you were my responsibility. And I had such low self-esteem that I let you do pretty much whatever you popped into your head, and just took it. And then when you were done, and then after that, when you were done getting you talked off the ledge, you finally passed out, I would clean up the apartment, pick up the bottles of whatever that's laying around, make sure you were good and passed out before I left, so that I knew that by the time like Pedro or somebody came saw you in the morning, you were probably still gonna be okay. So what'd that mean? What did you miss out on? Well, there were hours and hours of watching porn. Because if I was going to be useful, I needed to know how to make the guy feel like they were a pro. And it had to be believable. I think one of the first experiences, you decided you were going to show me how to give head. God, you drilled that one too. I mean, you just... Till I moaned right during it. And, you know, just... over and over and over and over and over again. Until you were pleased with the performance. And then came the taking care of you and talking you off the suicidal ledge and how there's nobody else there for you that understands. And then going home after cleaning up. Next several times it happened involved a mirror, because boy, you like to watch yourself. And then I would have to take a shower because of how much I was bleeding. It was the first time I'd ever been raped anally. You know that? As you watched yourself in the mirror. One time I had a friend over with me at the time. This was actually during the day for once. She was sitting, 10, 15 feet max from where you took me into the kitchen and made me get down on the floor and take it with her right there, listening to the whole goddamn thing. And how I managed to talk myself out of you didn't know what was going on, I'm not sure. But I guess that doesn't really matter. Because in my head, if I didn't show up at night to make sure you didn't kill yourself, your death was going to be on my head. And that would have been a weight I would have had to carry. And you talk, about these dreams that you had, changing the world. And how you couldn't bear to get in any trouble and ruin those chances. Finally, I get to the point, because of you and what you were doing to me, that I couldn't take it anymore. And I gave up. Luckily, they caught me before it was finished, and I ended up in CAPS for a while. Because yes, you drove me. Your actions drove me to try to commit suicide. And then I learned from a friend while I'm in there that you, supposedly, from what I heard and what I've carried, was that while I was in, you lost your shit and it took like 4 cop cars to subdue you, and your dreams were down the toilet. And you know what 16-year-old me did? 16-year-old me saw that as my weakness, not to be able to put up with your abuse, cost you your dreams. And I carried that weight. And don't get me wrong, my parents knew something was going on. They knew something was wrong. They weren't dumb. You know how many times I was questioned? What's his name? Who is he? And I refused to tell them, and I protected you. What you did to me ruined the way I see men, the way I see sex. And I'm done carrying it. I'm done carrying the weight. I'm done carrying the guilt. I'm done carrying all of it. It's yours. You, Nate Hamill, preyed on a child who you knew was vulnerable. And you took, and you took, and you took, until she didn't have any more to give. And then she carried the weight for decades. I didn't even come clean about the whole thing until after my husband was out of the military and we were back in Lincoln. That's how long and how mind-fucked you had me. I've spent many years agoraphobic, terrified of men. There were many years, many years where even being around my own dad and brother, I was uncomfortable. How sad is that? You did that. You did that. My husband had to distance himself from friends because I couldn't deal with it. Everyone was scary. Go out in the middle of the night to Walmart to do grocery shopping because any other time of day, there are too many people around. You did that. And the sad part is, to this day, my first go-to is protection or absolving you of what you did. No matter how much it hurt me. And I'm done. It's your turn to take that on. You can have it back. I don't want it anymore. I'm done protecting you. And I'm done protecting you from yourself. You get to know what a complete shit stain on life you are. You completely undid my world. My sense of who I was, what I was worth. You took that from me. I'm only now starting to discover what that is. You want to know why this is happening now? I've gotten strong enough to stand up and say, you know what? This isn't my guilt. This isn't my stuff to carry. In fact, it was never mine to carry. It was always yours. So much of my life I have missed because I have not been able to engage in the world, because it's a scary place. And the deep sense of fear I have around males, no matter who they are. There's one male in this world I feel safe with. That's my husband. How could you do that to a kid? What the hell was going through your mind? Why me? Was it all lies? Did you not actually know what you were doing? Did you have any inkling what you were doing? When I was such a small kid, every time I had to use the shower because I was bleeding that bad. Every single time. And I took it because I thought your life was worth more than my soul. And you helped create that feeling. Confirming I'm damaged. Nobody's gonna want me. What would you do if I was one of your kids that happened to? What would you do? What's right? There aren't words to express the pain I have dealt with that stemmed from your actions. Futures that were lost. Friendships that were lost. Because of the damage that you caused. And I see you on here. Daughters, old as mine. doing some art therapy healing thing, that's a kick. For someone who caused so much pain to be on there about healing, what the fuck do you know about healing? What the fuck do you know about healing? Far as I can see, you know how to cause the problems. What the fuck do you know about healing? I don't know what caused you to be suicidal back then, but you know what? That didn't give you the right to do what you did. Getting piss-ass drunk and blacking out didn't give you the right to do what you did. I was a kid. I was a vulnerable kid, and you knew that. And you used that against me. You want to be true about healing? Figure out what words fix this. Figure out how you go back and undo the damage that you did. You know what the sad part is? You'd think I would have learned my lesson about not caring for people, because caring for people only gets people hurt. But guess what? I would still go out on a limb and give somebody my last fucking dollar if it means they'll eat. You didn't destroy that. You didn't turn my heart cold. That you didn't take away. But my sense of safety, my sense of knowing my own, what part is me? What part is something that your sick ass trained into me? You ruined that. You didn't fix it. You ruined it. Mostly what I want you to get out of this, you caused this pain. And guess what? Now it's yours to take back. Your actions caused a child to try and take her life. Because that is how terrible you were. And how much torment and pain you put me through. But you know what? I also turned that into being able to help people through my stories. What you did to me. And use that to help others. Because that is who I am. I may have been dealt a shitty hand. Maybe you didn't understand what you were doing before. But as a father to 2 daughters, I don't know, maybe now you will. Maybe now you fucking get it. This is not explicit detail of every little instance that happened. You want to imagine Go for it. Think of some mid-20s guy who's got on his head that he's going to train the little girl how to be a fucking porn star and be useful. Make her diligently watch porn movies so she can get the arch of the back right, the moan sounds right. Everything, every little aspect had to be right. You were evil. And I was only trying to help you. Because you said there wasn't anybody else there too. And when I gave up, and you lost your shit, like you had been telling me would happen if I wasn't there, I blamed myself. And then I carried the weight of that into the future as my fault, because I was weak and I couldn't put up with your abuse, and I let you ruin your future because I was weak. Now I know now that's not on me, that's on you. That's on you. That's not my weight to carry. And that's what I'm here. It's not my weight to carry anymore. It's not my place to protect you, not even from yourself. So that's why you get to know what you did. Whether you knew it back then or not, you do now. While I did try to bring it up a couple times, yeah, I also, I didn't tell you when all it happened. But it doesn't mean it didn't happen. So it is time that you know what you did. And that is what you did. You broke a child. You broke a child. And now that weight gets to be on you. Every time I cut or threw up or any of that shit, that was on you. You did that. The scars up and down my legs, you did that. What do you have to say for yourself? How do you fix what you did? And what are you going to do with the knowledge of what you did? For someone who seems to care, how are you going to use this to help others? Do you know what it's like? You know what it feels like to not be able to give your own dad a hug without feeling wrong? And it's no nothing that they did. It was damage somebody else did to you. That lasted. You imagine the hurt if they knew that that's what it's been like? So what are you going to do now?